creepy ass little
Weird.
Yeah.
We are live. Welcome to the Bradbury Challenge, the podcast where three writers attempt to write one short story each week. I am here with Chrissy Moss and Gerald Hornsby. My name is Maya Good. And because this is still 2016, instead of asking how your week is, I'm going to ask how your writing is.
Blah.
Oh no, Chrissy, say it isn't so.
Did either of you see my tweet this morning?
No, I haven't been on Twitter. My life is combusted. What happened?
NaNoWriMo ended last night.
Did you finish?
For the first time in 5 years, I did not.
Oh.
What happened?
Nightmare.
5 years? That's a long streak.
I know, right?
You know how to do this. What happened?
I got 38,000 words.
Oh, Chrissy.
That's a
It's
big
okay.
mess.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah. It's not you, it's me.
No.
Every girl that listens to this podcast is dying right now.
It's me.
Maybe you were tired or something. Had a hard day.
I think there's
Cheryl. Sorry, you're killing me here. You're killing me here. Okay, I got it together here.
Good.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Maybe. We'll see.
for a bit.
I think there were a few things that contributed to. I think my heart just wasn't in it this year.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
considering I wrote twice as much as I have any other month this year, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah, that isn't bad.
40,000 words, which is I was like 500 away from 40,000. That's a big chunk of words anyway, and it got me a big chunk through the second book of my next series that I'm working on. So I'm not gonna complain, but at the same time, my heart just wasn't into NaNoWriMo this year. There was lots of things, the election.
You know, it is one of those things that if your heart isn't in it, you're not. It's so much about whether or not you're all in. If you are not all in for any reason at all, you're just not going to make it. You've got to be so committed to it that everything else comes second. And if you're not, there's no shame in that.
No.
Right. And considering I did 40,000 words, even with my heart not in it, and
that's
just like
pretty intense.
Yeah, and they weren't crappy words. I mean, it's a good story. I just have a lot of reworking to do to make it a finished story.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you. I mean, to not be in it and get that far along is better than I've done. Any of the times that my heart hasn't been in it, I get like 20,000, 10,000, I'm out. Like, I can tell whether or not I'm in it or not. And if I'm not in it, I'm abandoning ship within the first week. I'm like, you know what? This isn't clicking.
So how far did you get before you quit this year?
Like 4,000 words. Like I got one. Yeah, I got one short story done, and I outlined 2 more, and I was like, you know what? I'm not in it. Yeah. My heart's just not in this. I gotta rejigger this and figure out why it's not clicking. And it really was just a matter of I have too many things on my plate, and the concept, just the idea of dealing with that many drafts all at once was just not sitting right in my stomach.
Right.
But you guys knew I was iffy to go into it. I knew better.
Yeah.
I knew better.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's nothing wrong with trying, though.
No.
Yeah, totally.
That's why I don't like the concept of winning, and because if you don't win, you fail. And I think I wrote a blog post about this some time ago that it's a challenge, and you either meet the challenge or you don't meet the challenge. It's winning.
I don't think it's that though.
No.
Because my thing with NaNoWriMo has always been learning something new about myself every year. And I think I learned something new about myself this year too. And that's that even if my heart isn't in it, I can still write and I can still push myself to do some words every night.
Yeah.
And so I can see where you both are coming from on that. I learn something every year, but at the same time, I think if you're not in it, sometimes the concept of winning can really mess with your psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and take you away from the fact that you're in it really to learn more about yourself and your writing, to have a month to set aside to explore new things, maybe try something you wouldn't be willing to try the rest of the year, you know. But when you've got this concept of winning, especially if you're doing any kind of blogging about it, like happened last year, it can really get in your head sometimes.
I guess it really depends on what your definition of winning is.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I know
So,
for
Gerald?
some. I know for some, and I think especially some who haven't done it before or haven't done it much before, you know, they get all excited and yay, NaNoWriMo, hey, go to meets and write-ins and online things and forums and stuff, and they get so disappointed when it just doesn't work. And
yeah,
you know, I think Maya, you made that great decision early on to say no, it ain't going to work, so that's it. And Chrissy, you know, you did great. You wrote a load of words, and I think everyone should that doesn't write 50,000 words should just say, yeah, you know, it was what it was. I've still written some stuff, and that's good. It's, you know.
Yeah, frankly, if I had continued to do it, I wouldn't have submitted my story.
Yeah.
I would not have had the energy to go through as many revisions as I did and clean it up and go through it as slowly as I did. And I say slowly with the caveat that I went from start to finish with that story in a fraction of the time of any other story I've ever written. And it's a significantly better story. So before, the stories that I submitted to journals or whatnot usually went through 20 to 28 drafts over the course of 1 to 2 years. Like, these were stories I developed over a very long time. I started Sunset at Congo Square thinking about it, the month before last. I put the first word on the page last month, and I submitted it 2 days ago. That is an improvement. And so I'm not upset about it.
No,
like, that's a huge thing for me. That tells me that I can submit to journals and have it be somewhat sustainable, whereas before it wasn't.
And that's a good story. It's you know, it's a real hard hitting, great, you know, well written story. So you know, you can turn that round inside a couple of months. That's pretty good.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I could really use the money, and frankly, it's a relief to know that I'm capable of writing a short story that doesn't have children in it.
Yeah.
You think that's funny? I'm serious. Like, you look at all my short stories, with the exception of a couple flash fiction pieces, they're all dealing with children. And that is my first, like, longer short story that is purely an adult story.
Well, I mean, I laugh, but I laugh because I see that in myself too, that all of my stories have the similar characters. Yeah.
It's like Stephen King's drunk dads, you know. I got my messed up children, he's got his drunk dads.
Yeah. and there's reasons we have those in it. I mean, I have abusive spouses in a lot of my stories because I'm dealing with that still in my own psyche. And then I have the young girl who's clueless about everything, and she has to figure it out and for herself and make a life outside
and
of everything.
Me, I default to children because I naturally have a children's voice.
Yeah.
Like, I present as an adult, but at my core, I'm still like 14 inside, and it comes out in my writing when I write shorter stories. I am undeveloped.
That's diplomatic. That's funny.
So, Gerald, how was your writing? How did you do?
Do you need to ask?
They can't see you shrug, Gerald.
Well, I am looking at NaNoWriMo's winners for my book.
Okay, did he win?
He won.
Yeah.
You won?
Yeah. That's
that applause is for you, Gerald. At least one of us has our shit straight.
I think if 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you discount the year I didn't even attempt it because I was moving house, that's 9 wins on the trot.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
Well, just so you guys know, I'm gonna have to use the YouTube audio because my recorder's card just filled up with no warning. That's the only thing I hate about this recorder. I really do. So go ahead and send me your files in case something happens and I have to splice. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna rip the audio from YouTube. Yay! So Gerald,
Yeah.
What is your NaNoWriMo about?
Well, it's actually
Or
one and a bit things, because
okay.
I'm quite flexible with regard to nano, and so I got towards the end of the thing, but because my sort of plot line had deviated a little bit from my planning, and I knew what the end was going to be, and I'm got my hands in the air, so of course the audio can't see it, but my I was some way off my target of what the ending I wanted to be. So, and I was struggling to, and I kept saying to myself, oh, will I write a new ending, or will I try and somehow hop across lanes of a carriageway to get the plot to where I wanted it to? So I was struggling for a few days with that, and then and I thought, I'll start book 2. So I started book 2, and that just flew. It was really good. So so yeah, I'm about I'm about an eighth of the way through the second book.
That's pretty awesome, Gerald.
Yeah, I'm pleased, and because you say you learn something, and you know, I always try and use Nano to do something a little bit different. So this year I tried my hand at cozy mysteries, and yeah, I discovered I can't write the sort of the Miss Marple cozy mysteries.
Are you too jaded?
Yeah, and I've written too much dark stuff. So there's always a sort of a dark undercurrent, and some of the, you know, there's the people are very flawed, and all this sort of stuff. But I quite like that. You know, maybe it's a sort of dark cozy genre. I'm not sure.
Isn't that called noir? If it's like dark cozy?
I don't think so. I mean, it's got the cozy setup of a group of amateur sleuths solving a crime, and so we've ticked that box. But it's I intended for it to be light-hearted and jolly japes and things, and then as soon as you get somebody that's murdered, you think, that's not very jolly. So,
I love it.
Well, I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I like it a lot. I like the characters. I like the setup. I think this could run and run. So I'm going to continue writing these. So I'm going to finish off the second book, and then go back to the first one, rewrite, stroke edit it. I'd like to get that out pretty early in the new year if I can.
You're going to put out a novel?
Did I say?
Did you hear that, Chrissy?
Did I say that?
Wow.
And he said it out loud and on air.
No one heard it. It's all right.
So for all of our listeners,
so like, you're actually gonna put it on Amazon for sale?
He sure is. Yeah. So for all of our listeners, if you do not see an announcement of Gerald by what's the date? Let's say May. By May, feel free to email us in mass.
End of February. Before the
end of February.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you. That's a huge step, man.
It is, because I was talking to someone on Facebook, an old school friend way back, and he said, because I shared I changed my banner on Facebook to Win or something, and he asked about it, and he said, so when are we going to see this? And I thought, actually, so people should see it. It's no good just writing stuff and thinking how clever I am and leave it on my hard disk for
but you're so
decade.
clever.
This is a huge mindset change for you, Gerald. Like, this is huge.
Well, it's been bubbling under for a while, and I wanted, I think partially because I'm aware that cozies are quite hot right now, and I don't want to, because I've missed things before that have been hot, and I think, I've already written something for that genre, and I'll edit that soon, and then not do anything, and then it goes away, and so I want to just to get things out there, really.
So since all of us have had these interesting experiences with Nano, how's our short stories been?
Let's not talk about that. That's a silly place to go.
Okay. Gerald, how's your short stories been?
Woohoo! Yeah.
Woohoo! How woohoo?
Yeah, I've written a good one just recently, actually. I think quite good.
That's great.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's kind of funny, but yeah, it was I'm yeah, I'm pleased with it. I may
I'm
even
very
read a
happy
bit
for you.
in a while. Yeah.
Well, I submitted Sunset at Congo Square a couple days ago. Gerald's seen it, and I'm really happy with it. They'll either like it or they won't, because it does have a lot of poetics in it. So, I mean, it definitely is a you're going to like it or you're not going to like it kind of story. But I think it fits Carve. I think so. And my other story, the one with the doll, I hit a roadblock. So I submitted what I had to one of my writers group, and I told them I'm not submitting it for critique. I asked them in advance. I submitted it for brainstorming. So we're going to do like you do with screenwriting, where you take a script and you sit down and you go through it and you come up with ideas and you figure out what's wrong and why it's blocked, and they're going to help me unblock it this Sunday.
That's great.
That's good.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, to find a writers group that's willing to do that with you is just priceless. Let me just tell you, that is priceless.
Yeah, that's a very useful thing.
Yeah, I've never had that before. I'm really looking forward to the Sunday, and I'll definitely come back and let you know how it went, because that's something I've never experienced before. I mean, it's a creative process you use for a lot of different things. My daughter is studying art in school. They do great brainstorming sessions all the time with some of their artwork, but to do it for writing is something I've never experienced. So I'm really looking forward to it. In addition, I as soon as I'm done here, I'm pressing send on another submission. I am. There is a journal that takes reprints. I pulled one of my stories off my website and I revised it, and I'm sending that. The one Rusted Metal, the flash fiction with the girl that finds the guy, the dead body. Yep, I'm sending that in. And I'm also sending in 2 poems. I was going to wait until I had a third, but I'm going to go ahead and send them in this week.
Well,
yeah, so I'm going to have 2 submissions for December, in addition to the submission I did in November.
That's amazing.
That's really good.
I'm really, really happy with it. I'm really happy with where it's going. It's just, everything's clicking. Like you said, Gerald, it just feels like it's time. We've written so much this past year, even though my writing is really stunk. I've gotten into so many different genres and stories and starts and stops that I feel like I've learned a lot this year. And now it's ready to start turning that stuff around.
Yeah, that's good. It's very good. Yeah, I was just going to see, because one time I said I was going to, after this year was over, I'm been selecting some of the stuff I've written, and there's 29,000 words of things I've written this year, which is
that's pretty awesome.
That's a bit weird. Yeah,
that is a lot, especially considering a lot of your short stories are really short.
Yeah,
like really short. Really? You're going to have a nice, meaty collection there. Even after you weed through it and pull out the ones that aren't good enough, you're going to have a really, really good collection there.
Yeah. Yeah, I want that, and I want that like my existing collection of sort of very short fiction. I just want it almost as a sort of giveaway or something. Just here's my writing. This is just some stuff I do, but if you're interested in that, then this is the real stuff, the novel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so proud of all of us.
Yeah.
Yay! Bradbury Challengers rule.
I just looked at my word count for the year so far, and I'm actually going to surpass last year by a fair bit. That's nice.
Wow, very good.
Yeah, I like how you all have it all in like one file, so you can immediately tell what your word count is. I have no ability to do that because mine's scattered all over my computer. Somewhere in Scrivener, somewhere in Word.
Yeah, every night before I go to bed, the last thing I do before I go to bed is update my writing words. And
that's smart.
I have a couple of different files, one specifically for the year, and then one to compare year by year. And so
for you two.
Well, I was going to say that this year so far, I've written 204,000 words.
Wow.
Yeah. I go for a quarter
Pardon
of a
me
million.
while the shock rushed through my body. That is a 250,000 words. That's a lot of freaking words, Chrissy.
That's a lot of freaking
You are a
words.
word demon.
I haven't published anything for a few months, but yeah.
That is a lot of words. Plus you published this year.
I did.
And you work. You have a job too. It's just...
I know. Just make me feel worse, why don't you?
That's my job, Maya, is to make everybody else feel way worse.
Wow. That is amazing to me. So since all of us are having these milestones, you know, Gerald is suddenly feeling like he's ready to start publishing a novel. Yeah. I am submitting more than one story a year. And I'm submitting my very first poetry. I've never submitted my poetry before anywhere. Wow. I wrote it when I was younger and stopped, and it came back just out of the blue for me. What is it you think has been changing this year? Because it seems like all of us have reached a milestone of some sort.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about this year. I think, I don't know. Actually, I think, no, here we go. I think the Bradbury Challenge and the feedback that I've got from you guys and the feedback I've got from the writing groups I'm a member of has finally sort of sunk into my head that I can write.
Yeah.
So because I think, because I'm always, self-effacing. I say, oh, you're a writer. Well, no, I just write some stuff. It's okay. Anyway, on to you. So but I think, I am a writer and I can write, and I should do. I have well over 1 million words sitting on my computer, not doing anything. So I'm going to choose between now and Christmas. I'm going to choose some other stuff that I want to publish. Maybe some of the thrillers that I've written, political, apocalyptic thrillers, and actually get those out and rewrite, edit them as well next year.
That's wonderful. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. You can hear somebody say you can write a gazillion times, but until it clicks into your own head. Like, I had the same conversation with my friend Jason last night when I was talking about what the heck am I going to do without a job, and the whole question of, am I good enough to submit to some of these MFA programs? Because if I'm going to go to a program that's fully funded. I'm going to go to one of the better programs because it's pointless to go to anything else at this point. Just politically, it's just not smart. And he was like, you can write. Yeah, you need to apply to this program. So I'm like, no, but these are the best of the best. And these are people, I mean, they're going to be taking classes with Junot Diaz and all these famous authors and Colin. And he's like, no, Maya, you can write. And to get it through the thick skull sometimes takes repetition.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, Chrissy, you've hit some milestones. What do you think is different this year?
I think I feel like a writer this year.
Yeah.
Ooh,
which
nice.
is,
yeah.
I mean, I've been writing all my life. I mean, not a writer. I feel like an author this year because I've been writing my entire life. Like, I have stories from when I was 7 years old that would make some good children's fiction. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it out a little children's book or something. But I have actual novels out that you can sit on your bookshelf and have a substantial book sitting on your shelf. And not only that, but I have tons of reviews on it that are all 4 and 5 stars. So people actually like this book. People I've never met, people I have no idea who they are or where they're coming from. And I actually feel like maybe I can do this.
Yeah.
It's an identity shift, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm having something similar. Like, I'm going from writing is something that I'm dabbling in and I might be able to do it. And I can maybe self-publish, but maybe I'm not good enough to, okay, I'm submitting to journals that on paper maybe I have no business submitting to. Let's be frank. But you always start at top tier first.
That's right.
I'm submitting to them and I'm not panicking afterwards. And I'm looking at MFA programs, but instead of subconsciously saying, well, maybe I'll look at a local program, or maybe I'll look at Alaska, or the second tier programs, I'm actually willing to open up the web page to the first tier programs and see like, do I have everything in place to even be able to apply, which is something I wouldn't have done last year. And it's a mind shift change of, I'm no longer someone that dabbles in writing. I am a writer. And I'm capable of taking my craft seriously. I'm capable of being in the same room with really great people. And that's something I didn't have last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of strange, isn't it, that all three of us have been doing this Bradbury challenge, and all three of us are having sort of epiphanies at the end of the year and thinking, actually.
Well, do you think it's strange, or is it a correlation, Gerald?
I think, yeah, the encouragement and the pressure of attempting to write one short story a week forces you to try different things, and when some stuff comes out that maybe isn't as bad as you thought it might be, you think, actually, yeah, I can write.
I think it's a lot like the NaNoWriMo challenge. Is like, two of us apparently can't seem to write a short story a week to save our lives, but it doesn't matter because we've
don't know who you're talking about, Chrissy.
I know. but it that part hasn't mattered so much as what we've taken away from it. What we've learned about ourselves and our writing and our style and what we are capable of. Yeah,
and the fact that I've accepted that I can't write a short story each week. Now, I went into this really down on myself every time I missed a week. And I've realized that as a writer, I'm a writer that thinks of an idea and mulls it over for a few weeks or even a few months, just really considers all the options and then writes it and revises a gazillion times. And that's okay. Whereas I can say that with my head held high while staring at Gerald, who churns out stories, like he just sneezes. Achoo! Oops, there's another story. And I don't feel any kind of weirdness. I don't feel less than. I don't feel like I'm less of a writer. Now I'm okay with being the type of writer I am. And I'm adjusting my goals accordingly. So knowing that I'm that type of writer, I'm never going to write literary fiction, one book every 3 months like I would have to do to self-publish literary fiction. That's not the type of writing I do. Right. So now what am I doing? I'm going to an MFA program possibly. I'm going to be spaking time. I'm okay with spending a couple years getting my novels okay. I'm looking at doing my pen name because those are stories I can do faster. And I need money. And I'm okay with that division now. Because before, I've had this pen name sitting. I've had this outline sitting for almost 2 years now. 1.5 years I've had this outline sitting. Haven't done anything with it. Because I didn't have that division between the artsy part of my brain and the turn it out, be a business part of my brain. And now that I've accepted the artsy part of my brain, the other side that's more practical and pragmatic doesn't bother me as much. And now I can look at that outline and see what's wrong with it and not be pissed off at myself and not be annoyed and not think I'm not capable of being a writer. Because in the back of my head, I was thinking, if I can't write this 5-series romance series and have it be A, marketable, and B, have some sort of artistic merit and do it quickly, there must be something wrong with me. Now I'm thinking, no, I can turn it out. It doesn't have to be high literature. It's not going to be under my name. And my high literature crap can be over here. And it can wait until I've got the skills necessary to do those stories justice, and it's okay.
And I think because we were talking about this in a writing group last night about style and voice. And I think voice is a really, really hard thing to define. But when you've got it. And I think one of the side effects of writing a lot is that your voice comes out. You no matter how hard you try, you can't stop it coming out because you haven't got time to overthink what you're writing. So your natural voice comes out, and when your natural voice comes out, and people say that was good, I like that, You think, oh, so that natural. So yeah, it and we've all sort of got that, haven't we? We're all feeling that.
Yeah, I think we all are. I know for myself, one of the things that's also helped my natural voice has been my vlogging. I have been sitting in front of a camera yapping my gums off for 10 years now. I started my first YouTube channel 10 years ago.
Wow.
And you talk that much. Not that I don't talk long anyway, but you talk that much. Then when you write, it's going to come out too. And for example, the story I sent you, you saw the finished draft. The rough draft was really rough. I sent that rough draft. Yeah, it was rough. On one of the episodes, I read like the old version, the first draft version, and the 8th draft version of like a portion of it, and it was like night and day.
Yeah.
I sent that rough draft to my writers group. It was the first short story I sent them. It was the first news story I sent them. I'd only sent them portions of my novels at that point. The first words out of one of the ladies' mouths, and she's an editor, the first words out of her mouth was, "Are you a poet?"
Wow.
Now, I wrote poetry a lot as a kid, and I stopped. I did not ID as a poet. I would put it on my bio because I had some poetry on my website. I felt like I had to acknowledge it, but I did not feel like a poet. I would tell people, yeah, I write fiction. I have a couple poems on my website. They're old. Like, I would say it like that. They're old. And I looked at her, I was like, how can you tell? I haven't written poetry in like 10 years. She's like, it's all up in this story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell at the outset that you write poetry. And hearing that from somebody I respected also changed my identity in another way. This is the first poem that I'm submitting to a journal. The first poems that I don't think, this is just something I turned out, no big deal. I was mopey and emo that day. Suddenly I'm writing poetry again.
Yeah.
Which is something that hasn't happened in a very, very, very long time. And they're good. They're better than my old poems by far. Wow. And so I've also had that identity shift as well.
Very good. That's very good.
So does anyone want to read anything today?
I got something if you want.
Yeah, I love it when you read.
Oh.
Grace us with your brilliance, even in rough draft.
Stop it.
I know you're loved, Gerald. You are heavily loved around here.
Oh, I can't find it. Oh, yes, I can.
No, you sound like me.
Wait a minute. Just.
How about I read first, since Gerald's amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Wow, you're ready?
Yeah, it's right here.
Like usually you're on my side over here. You're like, hey,
it's
gotta find it, open up a couple screens.
It's a really, really short thing.
Okay, hit it, Chrissy.
It's the beginning of the short story I'm going to be working on this week, called Purple. Purple, the color of irises and soft sweaters in the winter, the color of grapes ripening in the field, the color that reminded me of the end of fall when plums were ready to pick and the leaves were darkening on the ground. Purple was the last respite from before the white blanket of snow enveloped the world, the last light before darkness descended, and the last color in the rainbow. Purple meant an ending to me, but only for a moment, only for a breath. And purple reminded me of Jude. I was struck by her beauty the first time I saw her. Sun-kissed skin that glowed like honey in the sunlight, dark tresses that hung down in ringlets, shimmering in the morning light. And she wore a purple dress that clung to her round curves inches above her knees. There you go.
Yeah.
Where is Chrissy and what have you done with her? That was amazing.
I can.
I think that is my favorite thing you've ever written. Holy moly! Where the heck did that come from?
I was just thinking then that it has got such a style and such a.
This is a whole new Chrissy. This is Chrissy the literary writer. This is Chrissy the poet.
That was
wow.
Yeah, I started a new kind of series called it's The Colors of the Rainbow, and each one is I finished Orange, and Orange was about an orange shirt, or it was about the color orange, and so it has orange things it starts with an orange sweater, and how she used to use it at a convention to dress as Velma, but now she can't anymore because the person she used to do that stuff with killed himself. And so she has to put it in a box and up on a shelf until she can look at it again.
Wow.
So
look at you getting all literary on us.
I this year in general has been a lot of reflection. And you know, especially over the last month where the news has just been sucky.
Yeah, 2016 has been hard, man. Yeah. It has been really hard.
But I have been thinking for the longest time that I want a say in what's happening in the world, and I want this to be reflected, and I don't want to just come out and say it, because in my position and in what I believe, I don't know that it would be safe for me to say the things that are in my head sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, it's such a fertile ground for, it doesn't matter what you believe, somebody's going to attack you. So it's just, I don't want to be overt about it.
But I think you're not alone in this. I've always been of the opinion that artists have a responsibility during hard times. We practice and we play during good times, but during hard times, it comes to the shoulders of the artist. And there's a reason why every revolution, every change, every new society, every major cultural shift has been led by art, really.
Right.
And it's the exact same reason why whenever there's a coup, whenever there's a new authoritarian regime, whatever, they crack down on the artist. It's the exact same reason. It's this power and also this responsibility of the artist. And I know that you're not the only one feeling this. I'm hearing it from all quarters. I'm hearing this constant chorus of writers, pens up, painters, get your brushes out. This is what we do during times of emotional, political, social upheaval. We create, we give voice to the people, and we help lead the way. Even going back to science, how much science started out as sci-fi novels.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Science. The science when you're like, really? Did you read any of those books? Really? Do we need robots that think for themselves? Do we need to clone? Do we really need to clone dinosaurs? Did you watch Jurassic Park even once? Like,
there are also a lot of good books and novels and movies about good AI that is helpful to humanity.
Oh yeah.
Of course, then you have Resident Evil.
So much of our medicine, of our science ideas, you can find the premonition of that in sci-fi going back 60, 50 years. And it's the same thing. There's power in art. And I think that voice that you just read us blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. Okay, Gerald, tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're used to being like, you know, the unicorn over here. It's like, yeah, my short stories, like poop rainbows and unicorns.
Okay. Well, we're writing second person present tense. How about that? That's different.
That is different.
It's about a guy who wants to start a sort of a training course for older people. It starts. You help him. You work with the technology. You set up the live stream, the first training session, piece to camera introduction. He was good. I watched it many, many times. He had a way, your father, an easy, natural style in front of the camera. He could have made it on TV, but that would have been too much work. So he finishes his intro. He begins to climb on the bike, talking all the time, talking, not paying attention, and his foot slips. Those stupid shoes, the ones the pros wear, the ones he had to buy and wear. It's all there on the video. Slipping foot, the look of surprise on his face, and then his body disappears. And you laugh. You had a right to laugh. It was funny. Silly old fat middle-aged man trying to show you how to be fit when you're a fat middle-aged man. You laughing. And then you stop. And you say to him, Dad, you all right? And of course, he wasn't all right. silly fat man falling before he even gets on his bike, falling and banging the back of his head on the corner of the filing cabinet. It's the sound that gets me, the crack. It's kind of hard to describe, a sort of thump and a crack simultaneously mixed, probably a crump, and then you scream. And then a few days after the funeral, you begin to blame yourself. It was your fault. You encouraged him. You enabled him to do it. You set it all up. You. And nothing I said would deflect that self-sabotage, inflicting on yourself all of the pain you were feeling, taking the blame for the accident, the setup, everything. And then taking the responsibility for even existing at all. Nothing I said could pull you out of that down you were experiencing. And now, here we are, just a few months later. I'm sitting in the fresh air, a cooling breeze lifting and playing with a few strands of my hair, surrounded by silence and polished marble. I come here most days to be near to you. I can't see you, I can't hold you in my arms. Somehow, you might know I'm here. Yeah.
Wow.
Another
Gerald,
cheery
that's
little...
why I had to go first.
Gerald, I have a question. Tell me you submitted that to Carve. You didn't submit to Carve, did you?
No, I
You
didn't.
thought I was going to forget to call you out on air?
But
seriously, that needed to go to Carve. That's amazing.
Well, I only wrote it like the past couple of days, so.
Yeah, well, they stopped on the 30th. They stopped yesterday. You could have submitted it yesterday. What's your excuse?
It's not ready. It's not ready.
Are you kidding? It's beautiful. That was heart-wrenching. And the details, the trying to describe a thump and a crack, like I could hear that in my head when you said it.
Yeah.
Ah, amazing details, and how you described a fat middle-aged man trying to tell another fat middle-aged man. Like, that voice is so, your voice is really mature. Like, my voice changes by story. Like, you can read 3 of my stories, and there's me in there, but they're really different a lot of times. Your voice is really, really stable.
Yeah. So something I think when I get in the zone and I write something like this, yeah, there's something there. It's and it's strange because I've spent all month writing, you know, tell, you know, cozy mystery, tell, plot, plot, plot.
Well, you know, their regular submissions are still open.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're aware of that, aren't you?
Yeah, sure I am. I will. Yeah, I will do that with this. Here's a promise. I will do that with this.
Good, because that's an amazing story. And if you don't get in, we'll find another journal for it because it's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I would love to read one of my poems, but since they're all going out, I can't because they're short and I can't have them published, even in audio. So there's that. And on that note, I want to thank both of you for sharing. Like, this was a huge episode for us, I think. I feel really, really good about all the advancements each of us have made, and it's been an amazing experience. I want to thank all of our listeners. I hope that they got as much out of this as I did. And if you want to learn more about the Bradbury Challenge and all of our other podcasts, such as the Literary Roadhouse Book Club and the Literary Roadhouse, please visit literaryroadhouse.com. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.